going at it with an assistant coach on the bench. Caitlin was pissed.
Caitlin Clark and Brianne January heated on the bench again.
That lady in the middle seat, she was the one that grabbed Caitlin Clark while she was trying to celebrate last year. This is Brianne January, Stephanie White with the Connecticut Sun. Don't forget where you come from, okay? This is where y'all come from.
Despite the already raucous environment inside Indianapolis, even seasoned WNBA fans stopped to watch the footage following what happened on the Fever bench. Cameras showed Caitlin Clark pushing Stephanie White after yet another heated altercation on social media. Fans quickly exploded with the query, was this the moment Caitlin finally snapped, because it didn't feel like a normal coach-player dispute anymore. It appeared to be a personal matter. If you have been closely monitoring the Fever lately, you are aware that this tension has been building for weeks.
Me. Hey! You just have a bunch of mean girls surrounded.
Put CC 100% in the comment field right now if you're a loyal fan to show your support for the biggest star in women's basketball.
Grabbing and yanking and screaming and pointing. There's way too much of that going on over there in Indiana. I don't see it with superstars really anywhere else. But the Indiana Fever, they need to make it a show. They need to prove to Caitlin Clark, you're not good enough.
There is too much grab-eye. Even though the Fever had won the game, nobody was talking about the final score. On the sidelines, everyone was talking about the drama. During timeouts, cameras frequently caught Caitlin arguing with assistant coaches, swinging her hands in frustration, and trying to explain what she saw on the floor.
White grabbing Caitlin Clark by the arm. Caitlin Clark saying, "Get your hands off me."
If Caitlin Clark is not allowed to play her game, this team will lose by 15.
Caitlin was clearly not amused by Stephanie White's persistent attempts to defuse the situation by pointing, responding, and conversing back. Then came the moment when everyone knew about it. After making a fantastic shot, Caitlin quickly gave her teammates high fives before heading to the bench. Then, without even glancing at Stephanie White, she appeared to rush past her. Just annoyance, no grin, no acknowledgement.
Clark doing what Caitlin Clark does, hyping up the crowd, getting the crowd rowdy. And here comes the coach. Here comes the coach, grabbing her.
These coaches are angry because she's not running this offense. She's running the Caitlin Clark system. I'm going to be the most dynamic playmaker this league has ever seen, and it's not close. That's the system I'm running.
Y'all grabbing a girl when she's celebrating last season, grabbing Caitlin Clark. Who the hell y'all think?
Fans immediately started saying the same thing online. She's got enough of this coaching staff. One thing is certain, whether it is true or not. Caitlin Clark is tired of being restricted because the entire offense changes significantly when she is allowed to play. As the tempo quickens, the ball moves, transition opportunities arise, and defenders panic, Caitlin appears to be the generational superstar that everyone came to witness. But as the offense slows down and turns into endless half-court setups, the annoyance starts to boil over.
17,274 is what this arena holds. They had 14,505. At the beginning of last year, that were selling for 50 and 60 and 70 bucks.
We see what's going down with Amber Cox and Kelly Crosskoff. They are trying to promote the Indiana Fever. They're not even using Caitlin Clark. And you see the ticket sales.
Additionally, onlookers noticed something else during the game that made the situation worse. Every time Caitlin started to become hot, she would suddenly go back to the bench. The crowd would become raucous after she sank a deep three or created momentum, and then, boom, substitution would take place. In fact, she was changing her body language from one thing to another. Caitlin was captured on film arguing angrily about something during a sideline exchange while coaches kept talking over her. Her frustrated look said it all. This was no longer a playful dispute. This appeared to be a superstar who feels ignored and believes she knows exactly what the team needs. Since it is hard to ignore the statistical discrepancy, many of her fans are, to be honest, siding with her. When Caitlin controls speed, the Fever offensive appears to be risky. As she sits, everything suddenly slows down. As a result, social media went bananas when supporters saw that Indiana was being greatly outscored while Clark was sleeping. Why are you restricting the one player that makes all the changes? Others started to ponder. Remember that Caitlin just wrapped up one of the most exciting performances of the season. A few days prior, she pulled Indiana back from a huge deficit with logo threes, massive assists, and pure takeover enthusiasm. Her performance, according to her supporters, would finally silence critics and grant her total authority over the company. Instead, the drama oddly got worse. Reactions following the game fueled the flames even further. Fans anticipated Caitlyn would receive a ton of praise following her performance, but many felt that the coaching staff did not give her the credit she deserved. That just exacerbated the already tense situation. There are now two sides to the internet. One side claims that this is how great competitors look. They have emotions. They fight. They demand perfection. They put pressure on coaches because they want to be successful. The other point of view is that the squad is starting to suffer from the persistent, visible conflict and that the febrile locker room has turned toxic. But this is an undeniable fact. It appears that Caitlyn Clark is no longer a player who is willing to do as she is told. And since this no longer appears to be a simple coaching disagreement, if this tension keeps getting worse, Indiana might have a far bigger problem than anyone could have predicted. It appears to be a struggle for supremacy. But perhaps the most shocking part of this whole situation isn't even the disputes. The reason for this is that Caitlyn Clark is completely exhausted from trying to resolve disputes concurrently from every viewpoint. When she joined the league, she faced unprecedented pressure. Venues that are completely booked. Record-breaking ratings. There is national attention every night. Despite everything, she still generates amazing statistics. 20-point games, assists in double figures, 3 profound logos, highlight plays every night. But for some reason, the drama around the Fever music overshadows everything she accomplishes. People are also starting to believe that Caitlyn is completely aware of the circumstances. Because now listen carefully to what she says. Despite her annoyance at the start of the previous season, Caitlyn would smile. She would laugh and brush things off. She refused to give up. But it appears that patience has completely disappeared now. The sideline conversations tell the entire tale. Stephanie White occasionally tries to explain things by speaking and making motions. Caitlyn's look basically says, "You still don't get it." This led to the footage of her driving past Stephanie White going popular on the internet. Fans experienced distance in addition to irritation. They saw a gamer emotionally separating herself from her environment. Honestly, some Fever fans are starting to lose their minds. Because if your superstar starts to disregard the coaching staff, things might quickly spiral out of control. The situation is made much more odd by the timing. The Fever must now take advantage of Caitlyn's momentum. The league is actually thriving because of her presence. Ticket sales, TV ratings, national attention, and social media engagement all skyrocket while Caitlyn Clark is performing. But the conversation keeps shifting away from her excellence and toward conflict. Another factor that exacerbated the dispute was also noted by fans. Every time Caitlyn shows signs of emotion, like rousing the crowd, celebrating a nice play, or getting heated, someone on the bench seems to step in. On camera, coaches have frequently been seen grabbing her arm, stopping celebrations, or pulling her away during heartbreaking moments. Fans hate it because they believe that fire is exactly what makes Caitlyn special. You don't encourage a strong competitor who is winning a game to slow down. You did as she said. You gave her permission to burn down the building. The swagger of women's basketball initially attracted millions of new viewers. The internet certainly noticed the discrepancy. Other basketball players are always free to yell, celebrate, flex, and show their emotions. But when Caitlyn does it, people start acting uncomfortable. Suddenly, there is criticism. Suddenly, someone wants to be in charge of the situation. The "she's done with them" allegation has gone viral on the internet because fans believe Caitlyn feels restricted. This is where things become dangerous in Indiana. Superstars eventually reach a breaking point. A gamer will quickly stop keeping their complaints to themselves if they believe the system is limiting them or that their voice is not valued. It starts to permeate the court, the bench, post-game interviews, and body language. That's exactly what many think they are witnessing right now. The terrible aspect of the Fever is that Caitlyn still produces despite everything. She continues to dominate games, generate large stat lines, and create circumstances the league has never seen before, leaving fans worrying about something horrible. In a system that was just concerned with her advantages, how would she appear? Because many believe that Indiana hasn't truly set her free yet. Furthermore, if the dispute with Stephanie White continues to worsen, supporters' pressure will only intensify. On social media, many are already criticizing the coaching staff for each game. Each replacement is carefully examined. Every timeout is reviewed. Every seeming disagreement becomes a brand new, popular video. Right now, one thing is certain. Caitlin Clark's relationship with the Fever coaching staff is officially being investigated. As she passed Stephanie White without even acknowledging her, fans think the message was clear. Caitlin Clark is tired of being oppressed. If Indiana doesn't find a speedy solution to this problem, the greatest superstar in women's basketball history might completely lose faith in everyone around her. This is the real question. Do you think Caitlin Clark is being held back by the Indiana Fever coaching staff, or is this simply the pressure that comes with being a star? What transpired between Indiana and Caitlin Clark these days, Fever coaching staff, is more than simply a string of poignant sideline scenes. It has developed into a comprehensive story about communication, control, and the growing pains of a franchise attempting to strike a balance between superstardom and structure. On the one hand, you have a young, generational talent whose influence on the game is indisputable. She constantly changes the course of events, invigorates arenas, and raises awareness of women's basketball in general. Conversely, you have a coaching staff that is responsible for long-term growth, system design, and discipline in an effort to uphold order in a fiercely competitive workplace. These two forces are interacting in real time, creating the tension we've witnessed. Fans and commentators have been viewing every gesture and substitution through the prism of an escalating power struggle, which has spurred public debate due to emotional reactions, angry arguments, palpable dissatisfaction, and moments of apparent alienation on the bench. Beneath the viral videos and social media responses, however, is a more nuanced reality. Elite sports cultures are frequently uncomfortable, particularly when expectations are extremely high and every choice is magnified under national scrutiny. Unquestionably, Caitlin Clark's presence has raised Indiana's image, resulting in unparalleled media coverage, record-breaking attention, and higher ticket demand. However, it has also increased scrutiny of every internal choice the organization takes. In the meantime, the coaching staff has to deal with long-term strategic objectives that do not always coincide with immediate momentum on the court, team camaraderie, rotational balance, and performance outcomes. This conflict does not necessarily indicate failure, but it does point to a crucial stage in the growth of a young superstar and a brand that is rebuilding and learning to play to her strengths. Going forward, communication, flexibility, and mutual trust will determine whether this circumstance turns into a pivotal moment for development or a more profound point of division. But it's obvious that the attention won't be going away anytime soon. A worldwide audience interested in the outcome will continue to watch, record, and discuss every game, every timeout, and every emotional response. Ultimately, this is more than simply a single game or disagreement. It is about how a team and its star player learn to live together in the face of pressure, ambition, and expectations. The basketball world will be keeping a careful eye on this story as it develops to see if Indiana can transform conflict into chemistry, or if the division will determine the next phase of this quickly developing tale.